Good evening. My name is Kal Korff, and I'm a colonel in counterintelligence. Nice to talk to you again. Folks, I'm here today to talk about something that's not related to terrorism for once. I'm here to talk about a guy named Milos Bartu, or as I say in my California Czech accent, Milos Bartu. He runs a company called Cables and Sims, but most importantly, he also runs a company that he claims is called MacZone. It has been around for a number of years. He has used that name, and as we will show very shortly in this video, it apparently seems to be against the law, which is the reason we started contacting Bartu last year to document how he is. Now, what I'm going to explain to you is going to take a few minutes, and it is a little bit involved and complicated, but what I'm telling you is the truth. In fact, I would challenge everybody who doesn't believe me to go ahead and check the facts yourself. Feel free to contact Mr. Bartu and ask him the following questions over the issues I'm going to raise, and then feel free to contact Joss, who will confirm everything I've said. So please don't take my word for it. And since there are people out there on the internet who just lie and make things up and try to use this as an excuse to continue to make a point to hate people and engage in hatred, it's nice to expose these people, come after them, and hold them accountable. So let me now explain to you about Mr. Milos Bartu. As many people know, last year I approached Mr. Bartu with the idea that we could work together to lower the costs of Apple products in the Czech Republic. You see, folks, Apple products in the Czech Republic and in all of Europe are stupidly overpriced. They're stupidly overpriced because there are greedy owners out there who refuse to pass on to trusting consumers, people who want to spend their money. They refuse to pass on the drop in the dollar. When the euro was started years ago, it debuted at 1-to-1 against the dollar. So if a Macintosh, an iMac, for example, was 999 American dollars, it sold in Europe for 999 euros plus the DPH, or the import tax. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. That's called fair, open, honest, and market-driven competition. Okay, it's not artificially inflated or conflated prices. But what happened, as you know, in the last 9 years especially, the value of the dollar compared to the Czech crown and euro and British pound and other currencies has just gone this way. What has not happened, folks, is that dealers like Milos Bartu and his so-called MacZone, nor has any other Apple dealer lowered their prices accordingly. So the unfortunate consequence of this is that Apple products are stupidly overpriced, artificially so in Europe, because greedy owners of these so-called dealers, which aren't really Apple dealers. There are no Apple dealers in the Czech Republic. They're just people who license the name. It's not really Apple, okay? Don't let them fool you. And because the value of the euro is so much greater now than the dollar, they've not compensated the prices to bring in true competition. It is a conspiracy to gouge consumers. It is a conspiracy to keep prices artificially high, and unfortunately, Apple gets blamed for this. Apple gets blamed for being greedy, for not lowering their prices. Because if you look at the cost of Apple equipment in the United States, and it's of course designed in Cupertino, California, where Apple is headquartered, and then it's manufactured in Asia and imported, you can save up to 60–70% sometimes just by shopping in America instead of paying the overinflated prices and artificially contrived prices in Europe, which do exist, and Bartu's one of the people who artificially inflates things so he can make his margins. Whatever. So what we agreed to do was propose a cooperation with Mr. Bartu, where basically he would be able to order Apple equipment through .Joss in Oregon using an Oregon shipping address. And then what would happen is Bartu said he wanted to arrange for all shipping and logistics. We agreed. And then he could use and pick up anything he wanted and order whatever he wanted from the Oregon shipping bay of .Joss or the address there. We had an agreement in principle, and to help move the product forward and the idea of cooperating, if it was going to work, it's no secret that I borrowed inventory from him. There was one black laptop, and there was 2 iPods. And what we did is we agreed to replace those items with either cash or product or a mixture of both. Bartu said it was perfectly okay. That was always the agreement. The agreement was never to pay 47 or 48,000 crowns and pay these stupid Czech prices, meaning European prices, because again they're overinflated. We're just not that crazy, and so the deal was always to bring in product or a mixture of cash differential to square the deal. So I asked Bartu if we could borrow 3 pieces. He said yes. We did deliver those pieces, and then we went to replace the pieces, paying off Mr. Bartu. Now if you look at Mr. Bartu's site on so-called Maxone, he makes the false claim, which is a lie actually, that we haven't still paid for the goods. That is not true, folks. It is a fucking blatant lie. Please excuse my swearing, but it's the only blunt way to describe this. Bartu is lying, and because he has lied, he is now in trouble with authorities. By the time this video runs today, Bartu has been reported officially to the police for a variety of charges, which I will document in the next couple of days as the charges become public. And of course he's been reported for questionable activities, let's just put it politely, where I've declared under oath my personal observations of how he's tried to cheat the tax office. I've also turned in one other Czech individual who was part of this scam, and now Bartu has some serious problems on his hands because I'm not making this up. I've declared it under penalty of perjury and under oath, and then Bartu now has to deal with it. So let me prove to you now how Bartu has lied on several fronts. First of all, Bartu does not have the right to use the name legally Maxone. It does not belong to him, it never has, and it probably never will. Instead, Maxone is an official trademark of a company called Maxone in the United States. That's been true for 13 years. Many months ago, we launched an undercover investigation to find out to what degree Bartu would misrepresent himself, and the fact is he entered into a fraudulent agreement with us as Maxone when he has no right to use that name. We actually have letters, folks, from the real Maxone in America confirming that Bartu is not doing things the way laws and the World Trade Organization does things. So you can write Maxone in America yourself, please do. Ask them if they have a Maxone in Prague in the Czech Republic at Bartu's address, and they'll confirm that no, they've never heard of it, because it's not real. Bartu calls it Maxone, but that would be like me doing business calling myself Microsoft or Apple when I'm not. Bartu makes a big deal out of the fact that I'm not an authorized Apple dealer. Well, that's just as insane as Paul Kimball when he claims I wasn't an expert witness in the O.J. Simpson case because I was never in trial testifying. Well, I never claimed I was. I never claimed I was an Apple dealer either. So for somebody to expose me for something I never said or did, well, it's not really an expose, it's a lie on their part. For example, the average cost of an 8-gigabyte iPod is as much as 515 American dollars. Can you believe that, folks? The same iPod that goes in America on sale normally is around $229. So if you want an iPod at American prices, you can contact us. We hook you up. You get to choose everything you want, including your method of shipping, and it goes directly from the United States to you. You just pay the customary and legal import tax, which is required. Nothing wrong with that. That's the law. And then we're not involved. But we've done a service for you, and we've been very successful at it. We also know that we are direct threats to people like Bartu. You see, Bartu tries to have it both ways. We decided not to do business with him when we found out he didn't have the legal rights to the name Maxone, because you can't say you're Maxone if you don't have the legal rights to call yourself that. And based on what Maxone in America told us, he doesn't have the legal right to do it. What they're going to do to him, that's between them and him.